Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Good News Podcast. And today we have on a guest who is someone I've been really wanting to get to know. And I think you're going to really enjoy getting to know him in this conversation. This is a new councillor here in Brampton. This is Councillor Dennis Keenan. And Dennis is just a phenomenal guy. From the time he walked in the room, I have to say, I just really appreciated his energy and meeting him, and just a real guy, real down-to-earth kind of person, salt of the earth. All beautiful things that I think you'll really get a sense of in this conversation, and just he's an entrepreneur. Like he's had quite a past experience in business, and just he brings so much to the council table and to our city. You really do get a sense as you hear Dennis talk that this is a calling that he's really been called to serve in a really beautiful way. So friends, just fasten your seatbelts, get ready. This is a conversation that I think you're going to not only really enjoy, but really be inspired by and grateful for. Friends, let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome to the Good News Podcast, and as always, great to have you with us. I am thrilled to be with Councillor Dennis Keenan, who I have been told can refer to as Dennis, so you can as well. Dennis, just love what you bring to the table, man, and it's been fun just to connect here a little bit as we've got to know each other. Maybe a place to start. Just you have quite a story on how you got to where you are today. So, and there's just a lot. So just a little summary on how you got to where you are today would be awesome.
Oh, great. Well, thank you so much for having me. It is a pleasure to be here. It is the first podcast that I've been on. Cool. I did state that. So how I got here, how I got to council, or it's been a journey. It's definitely been a journey. Definitely one that can't be done without a supportive family. So I have to start with that.
Awesome.
The backbone of our family is definitely my wife. That her doing what she does with our 4 little kids allows me to go out and what I'll say is follow my dreams. So for that, I'm thankful for her. My story is, a lot of people heard in my campaign. I'm an immigrant from Scotland. We landed here, recession time in the early 90s. Parents lost everything. Hardworking father was a firefighter in Markham. My mom worked a couple jobs, so we definitely had the loving family. We just didn't have the money, we'll say. So we grew up in a little bit of hard times. I made it through high school. Did the co-op program to be an electrician. I did the first one to be a plumber. So I would, if anybody wants to do co-op in high school, please go and try it, because you'll find out if you like what you're doing or not. I didn't like mechanics, so I jumped into electrical. Finished off that, did a little stint with stand-up, and then jumped into the trade full-time. Finished up my trade by the time I was 23. At 24, my brother and I started an electrical contracting company that we grew quite successful over the last 15 years. We grew it from an $800 paycheck to where it is today, employing hundreds of people along the way. And then jumped into the food and beverage. So a lot of people that are from Brampton might know that we do own Keenan's here in Brampton, and we have another establishment in Milton. 4 little kids, didn't think I was busy enough, and decided that maybe I'll lean in on the city and try to apply some of the stuff that I have. And I say life experiences. I am only 38, but I've definitely gone through quite a bit in that short time, and I feel that I can lend some of that back to the city and give back to a community that really rallied behind me and essentially is responsible for where I am today. So I get that's what brought me to what I say politics here at the city.
Cool. We'll get into that in just a moment. But it's almost impossible to hear all that you've done and some ways that you're still doing, and wonder, how in the world do you do it all? Maybe some days you do wonder too, how do I do it all? What's your life like? You know what I mean? Like, how do you put these pieces that are so big and important and beautiful? How do you put them all together in a way that you're still standing?
So for me, it's the team.
Right on.
Right. It's the team. It starts at home with my wife. With that support and understanding that we've made a family decision that I would be out of the house more than I am. It's the executive teams that run the businesses. And then it's my personal team here at the city. And that really do a lot of the heavy lifting with me. There's no way that I would be capable of doing what I do, even in the city or outside or anything, without that supportive team. So I owe a lot to my, I got 3 rock stars that work with me at the city, Victoria, Heba, and Kanwar. They're just a dream that, definitely helped me with everything that I do there. My days are crazy. My days start early and they end late.
Maybe take us through a day. What's a day like?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Hang on, everybody.
So during the week, the alarm usually goes off between 4 and 4:30 a.m.
Okay.
I get up. I grab myself a quick steam shower, an espresso, and I try to always start my day with a morning devotional. I feel that it definitely grounds me for the day that I'm going to have, and the devotionals can be on anything. It could be something that's happening in my life. It could be on anger, because we're all quick to anger sometimes when things don't go your way. So I'm saying anger because I'm doing one on that now. So that was this morning.
Cool.
But I ground myself with a devotional. Usually try to get some type of workout in. And then my day, starts with everyone else around 7. I do get some text messages. Hey, you text me at 4:30 in the morning, and that's only because it's on my mind. It's not because I'm looking for a response.
Exactly.
Just because I'm up, I don't expect everyone else to be. And then a regular day will be, from there, checking the emails, catching up with my staff, into City Hall, going through, we're back to back meetings on anything that we're trying to get done at the city. Usually, we'll have on a Wednesday, it's a long council day or a short one. And even if we find those gaps in those council days, there's always work to be done. So everything I do at 150%. So, I had my mother call me yesterday and she says, well, you don't make time to call me as much anymore. And I was telling my wife, and my wife says, you don't call me either. So the days really tend to get...
Don't take it personally.
Don't take it personally. If I haven't called you back, it's because I'm busy. I'm not ignoring you. And, the days can go, in the city with resident callbacks and dealing with certain things. If I have, like on the way here, I had an extra 15 minutes on my drive. I was calling residents back the whole way. And, then we have events at night, different cultural events or openings, and then on the weekends we have them as well. So sometimes my nights go to midnight. So I can be up from 4 a.m. to 12, and the next day I might not get up till 4:30 or 5. But in the grand scheme of things, I think that's kind of where my day goes. I try to make it a point to always get at least my kids to their sports.
Nice.
Try to make that time. If it's, sometimes I can't stay for the full sporting event. We have help from the community that will bring my children to sports. I do have 4 little kids. 2 of them are in competitive sports. My daughter plays U9 competitive hockey for the Canadettes, and my son plays for Brampton Elite Academy for competitive soccer. And that takes, 4 or 5 days a week each. And then there's dance, and then there's another activity. And I still have 2 kids. They don't do anything. I said to my wife, I hope these ones like to read.
The little ones that really need you.
I hope these ones like to read a lot. I buy them some books. It'd be a lot easier on us. But that's just it's the life we've chosen. It's one that, I'm proud to be living. I feel that what I'm doing now is as much as I can put a lot of my experience into it and understand it and be able to get things done because I'm an outside of the box thinker, because that's how I had to be. I really feel like the work that I'm doing now is for other people more than it is for me. And I think that's where I'm thriving. That's what I'm enjoying the most. I can help solve other people's issues. They're also issues of mine.
Sure. Yeah.
I have the same concerns. We live in this city, right? So your concerns are my concerns, but to be able to make that impact and drive that change because it's right. I think that's the most meaningful thing for me right now.
That's really cool to me, Dennis, because I think you are a public servant. I know sometimes we don't realize that, but I think because people think, oh, councillor, mayor, you're in these high profile positions and but like you really are in a serving capacity and serving the city and serving others. And it sounds like that was part of your calling in some ways to take on this role. Love to hear a bit more about how that came about. What was that process of you choosing? And I appreciate you saying this life we've chosen, we've entered it together, because sometimes people become victims of their own circumstances that they actually create. You know what I'm saying? It's so inspiring me to hear. This is what we've chosen. We're blessed to do this. We get to do this. Is kind of what I'm hearing. but it is very different from what you were doing before. As far as yeah. So, what was the process that led to, hey, this is what I want to do with this next 4 years, next chapter, next season of my life?
When you grow businesses, you grow them to a point where they need you less. If you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, and your business still needs you every single day, you're not there yet. And you need to keep striving and keep pushing to move that business along. A successful business, in my eyes, is one that no longer needs you.
Sure. Yeah.
And when I think of why I chose to do this, or why we made this choice, I wanted to give back in something that gave back to me, right? And I wanted to be able to hone in on some of the things that I could do to serve. And through COVID, I was a deacon at Emmanuel Christian Reformed Church. I've always given back. My brother and I have a saying, and it's, no matter how successful we become, never forget where we came from. And that always brought us to staying level-headed. All the success, I have more success than I've ever wanted. I did not join or try to become a counselor for a job. The last thing I need is a job. I'm fine. I said to my wife during the campaign, what am I going to do if I lose? And she says, you're going to go back to work on Monday. I was like, that's a great point.
Okay, thanks, dear. Yeah.
And for me, and going through COVID, and we spent a lot of time at home together, and everything became online, and everything became more accessible in a certain way. As much as we were secluded, we all became more accessible. As much as we felt that we were away from each other, we were able to find other ways to be together. And to me, in business, that allowed me to do more. It allowed me to expand. I think I'm 150%. I'm always going to be doing something. And I chose that I want to do something that was good. And I always give back to the community when I could, during events or fundraisers or the women's shelter, sponsoring. I've always done that my entire life, from when I was capable to give money back or give something back, my time, anything. And I try to show my kids that that's important as well. And then when I became a deacon, I was a lot more engaged in the community giving back. Right. So we did, the Knights Table, regeneration, and it opened my eyes to, there's so much more at the city we could be doing. There's so much more good. There's so much more. And then you look at your regular complaints of how you want to see your city for your kids. And I stated this to you just before we came on. I said, Russell Peters, I remember he lived just over here. My buddy Sean lived across the street from him growing up. And he has a saying, I'm an oak tree. My roots are deep in Brampton. I have a couple sayings. One's, I'm Scottish by birth, Canadian by the grace of God. And here in Brampton, I'm an oak tree. My roots are deep. I'll never leave. Awesome. And I want that mentality and that Brampton that I grew up in to maintain, as much as we evolve and we're multicultural, and everything about that is what I love about our city.
Right on.
But we need to maintain it. We need to make sure that we're keeping it clean. We need to make sure that we're striving, that we're bringing in, good businesses. We're bringing in jobs that people want to have, but not just a certain type of job. We want the top jobs all the way to any job that anyone can do. I want to hone in on growing our own talent, educating our own residents. Those are the things that are the big picture items for me, because I want my kids to say they're an oak tree, that their roots are deep in Brampton and they never want to leave, right? I want to be out in the public being proud of being from Brampton. And we have a lot of negative things that happen in the news, and we're blasted for the negative things in Brampton. And sometimes we get blasted for the international students we have. But no one ever hears about the success of those international students. We hear about the few bad apples. Or things like that, but we don't hear about the person that went on to invent amazing technology, became a high-end lawyer, and is now giving back to their communities. He became nurses and doctors, are serving here in our own community. And I think that's what we're missing. We need to highlight the positives of Brampton. We need to be able to make those things shine. And I'm happy if I can, shed some light on it, or use the platform to which I've been elected to make sure that everybody knows Brampton can be and will be and is the best city in the world. We just all need to do our part. And I just felt that this was a calling for me to come and do this. It definitely wasn't an opportunity. It was more of, I wanted to do something that I could show my kids that you can give back and leave a legacy that has nothing to do with monetary items.
I love it, man. Thanks so much. And I feel that from you, and that genuine calling and love for the city, and my wife Katrina, we love the city as well. This has been home for over 25 years, and yeah, we're not going anywhere. We hear people moving sometimes and complain about this and that, and then we'll go. That's okay. Like, we're supposed to be here. We love the city. We want to keep working to make it better.
And we'll welcome them all back.
Yeah, right? Yeah,
they will come back.
Yeah, for sure, man.
The grass is always it's not always green on the other side. It's greener where you water it.
Yeah, no,
right?
I love that. I love that one for sure, man. Yeah, but all the good that goes on there. In fact, that's one of the reasons we started this. It's called the Good News Podcast here, because we just really believe there were so many good stories happening in our city and beyond that weren't being lifted up, and we just wanted to lift those up. And gospel means good news, so who's gonna be bearers of good news? Let it be us, sort of thing. So love this. As you think about your role even already and what you've experienced, where is some of that goodness? Where is some of that hope that you see for our city, both what we're already in and experiencing, but also maybe for the future as well, what you see as possible?
Yeah. So, we have a great council, and I don't want to sit here and for any second think that the colleagues that I'm working with are incredible in their own way. Everybody brings something to the table.
Yeah.
We are led by Patrick Brown, our mayor, and I've never, a lot of people say that I'm busy and I work hard. I've never seen anybody work like Patrick. And we're all busy in our own right, and everyone can be busy in whatever way, but his passion for leading the city in the right direction is sure. Great to watch, and you can actually take a lot from it.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of councillors that are doing great things in their area. Councillor Santos, Councillor Paleshi. The list goes on. There's not one councillor that I would leave out that doesn't bring something to the table. And I think that the hope and thing for me is the fact that we're all rowing in the same direction.
Yeah, right on.
Right. And that means that every opportunity in Brampton is a good one. There's nothing that's, pushed aside. There's nothing that's, when we look at, like I said earlier, I want to hone in on educating our own kids. And we've had counselors that have been fighting for post-secondary education. And you have, and I give most of the credit to the Council of Last. I don't want to take credit for things that aren't mine.
Sure.
And yes, now we see this medical university in Brampton. 100 years. But that was them fighting for that for 4 years to get it done. It just so happens it came in my term. In my term, but the honest thing is, did I have anything to do with bringing that here? No, but I'm happy it's here.
Sure.
I'm happy to do the rest of the legwork to get it across the finish line and put any support we can. We have a great economical development team within the city of Brampton, and that's led by, I believe, Councillor Tour as the chair and Councillor Santos as vice chair. And they're doing incredible work, bringing in businesses, wanting to see that happen. So the hope that I have and the vision that I have, my personal vision for good things in Brampton, I see them all happening. I don't see anything kind of stopping. But none of this work is easy. None of it is easy. Every decision we make has an impact in some way, some good, and with some great impact in the community. There's people that might not see it that way, and we got to take it. And I want to say that's the hardest thing in the job.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I led the ban on fireworks, and I have to say that's the hardest thing I've had to do yet on council. And you look at it like that should be an easy decision, right? Yeah, no fireworks,
but not for everybody.
But it's not.
Yeah.
It's we passed that around the table. Everyone had a say.
Yeah.
We went to the faith group organizations. We went to the seniors groups.
Yeah.
We took into consideration the religious holidays that celebrated with those items.
Yeah.
And we had to look at the negative impact that it was having on the city. And when I put the motion forward, it kept me up at night.
Yeah.
It kept me up at night because I knew I was making a decision that ultimately impacted people's lives. And maybe they didn't see it the way that I was trying to bring it. Maybe someone was going to take it and try to spin it to make me seem a way that I wasn't. And I just had to keep, I had to keep praying about it that, what I was putting forward was going to be the right thing for our community as a whole. And I think I accomplished that. We did take away the use and the sale of fireworks in the city. So we took away the accessibility, and it's a few bad apples that wreck it. But, we had fireworks going off at 4 a.m. all year long. It wasn't just certain holidays. But on certain occasions we had, the fire department was put out, we had 7 house fires, we had pool covers on fires, our 911 dispatch was overloaded. Then we had Parks and Recs cleaning up. And so, in putting this motion forward, you also have to consider, and like every motion you're doing, what are the impacts on the other side?
Yeah.
And the other side became, a big conversation was around Diwali, and that was their celebration. So in the motion, I put a line item that we would include a Diwali celebration put on by the city of Brampton so that we can all enjoy it. And then what I felt that has done has allowed the community that already celebrates Diwali celebrate it, and everyone who may have thought negative before because they were bothered by the celebrations will now come and be educated to what Diwali is, and we could be together again on such an incredible night and celebration. And to me, that's what's important because we are multicultural and we need to celebrate everything. And this was in no way to take that away, but you could imagine that, when you put that forward, they're looking at you, right? And I come out here and I say I'm a proud Christian, and you never hide that. But being a proud Christian makes me proud that of all faiths. And celebrating all faiths because all faiths are good.
For sure.
I love going, to out with the Hindu community, the Muslim community, the Sikh community. I enjoy it. I go to their festivals and I feel like I'm part of it.
Cool.
And for me, I love it. But for me, that's the toughest thing, putting forward emotion, knowing it impacts people both positive and negative, and trying to make sure that you find that balance because the onus is on you for doing it. And you got to stick by the decisions you make. And hopefully everyone can see that in the decisions you're making, you're trying to do what you believe is the best way forward. And, I've never been in a predicament where in my life, all the decision I'm making, I'm always making sure they're good decisions for me and my family. And now I make decisions for everybody else's. And that's
hard.
That's the toughest
part. And I really appreciate the way you've drilled down on that, just that one decision. I mean, and that's one decision, it's a big one, but the council's faced with these kinds of decisions every day, every week. And I know I think it's 2 Timothy, it encourages us to pray for those who are in political authority, those who are in political leadership positions. And I would just encourage everyone who's watching and listening to pray for our council, because these are the kinds of decisions that you're faced with. And I mean, I have trouble making decisions that everyone in my house agrees with and is happy with. Right? I can imagine a whole city. I just
100%.
really encourage us to be considerate of and praying for this huge role that you play and our council plays. I appreciate the thoughtfulness and just getting input from so many different places before a decision like that. You also mentioned prayer. I was wondering, Dennis, how does your faith, in this case as a Christian, as a follower of Jesus, how does that impact your role on council? How does it help you do your job? And
that I think it's important for me to always know that I'm the person I am because of my Christian values, and never never push those aside in making a decision. I always said, as I ran, and I always said it, but I said it throughout the campaign, if I get elected and you get in that chair, the biggest thing for me is the seat that I sit in doesn't change the person I am. It doesn't change the decisions I make. And I think that's because it's not a job for me, right? I'm not trying to be, the next political up. I'm not trying to worry about how am I get elected again in 4 more years. I'm here for now. Right, I make the decisions of today, and I stick by those decisions. And I pray about them a lot. And I just, being, I think having faith, regardless if it's a Christian faith or any faith, I think you need it in this job. I think you need it. I don't think it's, totally. I think you absolutely need it to be able to, I think it takes a lot of the pressure off knowing that you're praying and, you're asking for the guidance to make the right decisions. And I think that's what helps a lot of us along the way. And, sometimes we may make decisions that were wrong, and we can pray about those too. And that's, that's the best thing about faith is you're always going to have it. So for me, it's a huge part of me and my family. I think it shows. I think it's very evident that, I'm huge in my faith. I talk about it all the time. And if somebody's in some type of struggle, one of my colleagues anywhere, I'm always like, there's a devotional about that one.
I just read this morning, right? It's awesome.
I have anxiety. I was like, I had anxiety. Food. I got through it with these 5 devotionals. Try them out. So I think it's my faith keeps me grounded. And I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, right on, man. Right on. You seem to me, Dennis, to be an entrepreneur of the highest order. When you went through the quick little how all you've done in 38 years old and still doing. How does that entrepreneurial spirit and mindset How does that help you in this role on council?
So much.
Or maybe challenge you. I'm not sure.
It helps me so much.
Yeah.
I'm an outside of the box thinker.
Cool.
I grow my businesses by not taking no. There's always a way. We just need to think about it differently.
Mm-hmm.
There is always a way in every situation. And this works for me outside of business.
Mm-hmm.
This works for me in my family. This works for me in council. There is always a path forward.
Mm-hmm.
And when people come to me and they're like, I'm done. It's over. I feel like there's no more. There was a saying that, when you feel that you're at the bottom and that you're buried. And I always like to think of it as God, that's God planting you. And now it's time to grow, right? There's only one way to go, is up. And for me, that's huge. And being an entrepreneur, we'll get a decision or we'll have something come to the table and it'll be like, well, I'm not going to show this is happening. And it could be in public works and roads and parks. And I'm a very hands-on. So today I was at a meeting and it had to do with this person's sidewalk and how it was going to be fixed. And, you could quite easily grab the spray paint and I would just do this, and this because I have the experience to do so. When I look at economical development and driving in businesses, as an entrepreneur of my father-in-law's business, we were over in Europe and I was dealing with the manufacturers and I was dealing with our economical development team prior to even consider running about how to bring our business and our manufacturers back to Brampton. I was always pitching them with friends of mine that were in the clothing business with big factories and doing things, bring them to Brampton. So I wanted everything in Brampton before, and that's the entrepreneur in me.
Yeah.
And when I make a decision, I don't take a no if I think it's the right thing and we need to drive for that. Give me your solutions, not your problems. And I'm here to help you with it. But let's do it together. And, my outside of the box thinking, and I think every entrepreneur thinks that way. Every entrepreneur thinks outside of the box and how to make something work and make it successful. And I think I look at everything that I deal with as an entrepreneur.
That's awesome.
Yeah, even my marriage. How can I make her happy? Think outside of the box.
That's awesome. So, try again.
Yeah, no, it didn't work that time, but I won't take no for an answer.
Awesome.
She's going to smile one day.
That's awesome. I love it, man. Oh, Dennis, man, it's so good to get to know you, man, and looking forward to working and serving the city together. And thanks for being on the podcast today, man.
It's been so much
we'd
fun.
love to do it again. And yeah, for sure. But let's end with the good news podcast, rapid fire, if we could. So best thing going on in your home and your family these days?
The best thing going on is, I would say, my kids' sports. My son is back on the top tier academy team, and my daughter just remade the U9 rep as a 7-year-old.
Wow. That's awesome. That's awesome. Best thing going on in your neighborhood community?
Springtime. Watching everybody's helping hand and pull together to clean up from the winter. I think that's been huge. It's actually been mind-blowing to me to actually see it unfold. Because as a counselor, you see it all happening. Yeah. You see all the pictures, all the videos, you get all the invites for all these events that are happening. And for me, I just think that's an absolute beautiful thing that we can do as a community.
Totally. Yeah. Okay. Best thing going on in our world.
That's a tough one. I'm gonna say to watch the world or Europe and North America rally behind Ukraine.
Right on.
Watching that and staying steadfast and making sure that we can come to some sort of resolution there, even though what we're seeing is not what we want to see and how we're doing it. But I think everyone rallying behind and providing for Ukraine and the refugees that are coming here and seeing those stories are going to other parts of the world. I was just in Scotland for a couple of days and heard some stories about some of the Ukrainian refugees going there. So I want to say that part of it, even though it's a terrible event in our world, it has the beauty of us coming together.
For sure. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Thanks, Dennis.
Absolutely.
So much. Love to pray for you before we close.
Appreciate that.
Let's do it. Yeah. Oh, God, thank you so much for this conversation. More than this conversation, thanks for this life that you continue to give Dennis and his family and our council, for the way that you breathe new life into him every morning when he gets up early and he starts his day with you. I just continue to breathe your energy and creativity and resiliency into him. May your Holy Spirit continue to fill him as he offers leadership in our city. And just thank you for the way that you are blessing others through this calling on his life. Bless his beautiful young family. May they continue to know your love for them, Dennis and his wife's love for them, and may they be blessed in their home as they continue to grow together. Thanks again life and all that you continue to give to us, and for your new life that continues to bubble up and be on the way. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Well, thanks, brother, so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
yeah, for sure. Yeah. Friends, thanks for being a part of the Good News Podcast. As always, enjoy having you part of this movement of sharing good news with the world. God bless you and be with you. Hope to be with you again real soon. I told you this was a neat guy. I love his mindset. It is so positive, and that spirit that he has to really make it happen, to recognize that even when things are hard and challenging, that it could be an opportunity for God to birth something new, to bring new life, to grow something new. I just love his spirit. I think that's gonna be so good for our city. I love our city. I love Dennis's love for our city. You could just feel that from him. He's passionate. He's here for the long haul. Like, these are all things I think we want and need from people who make decisions for our city. So just love him and this conversation. I hope you felt that way as well. I really appreciated the depth of faith that Dennis brings to his life and to his family, to this really important role that God has blessed him with. And you could just see, having to make difficult decisions where you're not going to be pleasing everyone. Those are hard things for all of us. We're human beings. We have emotions. We all have sensitivities. It's hard to make those kinds of decisions, but just really appreciate the thoroughness, the input, and the faithfulness, the listening, humility to listen to others, to get input, listening for God's leading, getting that kind of guidance as a person of faith. You could just really tell that that's part of the way that Dennis operates, and really respect that, really appreciate that. Let alone the prayer life, we're beginning each day with the devotion that can ground him in something greater than himself. That'll bring a resiliency, a peace in the midst of trying times that will be so important for him. So just grateful for all of that. And please, as I encouraged us and challenged us in the conversation, I really do ask that we pray for our leaders, pray for our political leaders. The Bible encouraged us to do that, and you can kind of see why when you hear about what life is like and some of the challenges and decisions, let alone the busyness and the pace of life that can sometimes happen. So please pray for Dennis, pray for all of our council and our mayor, Patrick Brown, that God would be with them and bless them and guide them and give them all that they need to lead us well, but also to live healthy lives, and all of that so very important. So friends, appreciate you. Thank you for being a part of the Good News Podcast family. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Good News with Jamie Holtham. If you would subscribe, you'll get to know when every episode is released, and we'd love for you to get notification when that happens. Subscribing will allow you to do that. And I do want to point you towards next week. We got a good one coming up. It's going to be a conversation with my daughter, Leah, and we're bringing back Sean Hilliker, the one I called the most positive teacher ever, because he's such a great guy. He and his daughter, Morgan. So the four of us, father, daughter, father, are going to talk a bit about Father's Day and being in relationship together, growing together. I think it's going to be a fun one that you'll be able to relate to and enjoy. So hope to see you again next week. Friends, God bless you and be with you, and really look forward to seeing you again real soon.